One weather app says it's going to rain. Another one says it's going to snow. It says it's going to be below freezing. Then it says it's going to be above freezing. I'm kind of sick of losing plants, so we're going to get to the bottom of this. So it all started with losing my tomatoes this season. I have kind of lost things here and there because I felt like I should have covered them and I didn't. But this time I knew, I was like, I don't need to cover my tomatoes. The temperature is only showing it's going to get down to 42. And I have two apps that I use, Apple and WeatherBug. Now I knew Apple wasn't like the most accurate, but I thought WeatherBug was. And they were like, oh, it's only going to get down to 42. I don't cover my tomatoes unless it's showing 38 or below. And that has usually worked for me, but then there was a frost and I was like, I guess it's possible to get a frost below, or to get a frost around 40 degrees or 42 degrees. Not super likely, but it can happen. And the tops of the tomatoes were frosted, but the plant was still alive. And I was like, okay, well, maybe it's just like a fluke, right? And then another frost came through. Once again, we're only supposed to be in the 40s, like low 40s. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to cover them. Killed them completely. This was 7 weeks before my predicted frost date. And I was like, what's going on? I lost so many tomato plants. Thankfully, I did take some precautions. I picked my tomatoes off ahead of time. Even though they were green, I let them ripen inside. I just had too much at stake at that time because I was doing the dwarf tomato project experiment. And so I didn't want to like lose that opportunity. So I prepped in that way. I should have covered them still. But I just was like, no, there's no possible way. Yeah, there is apparently. And I was like, something is up with these apps. So that's when I actually got another app called AccuWeather. And I was using Weather Underground, the weather channel. At this point, I'm on like 5 or 6 different apps and websites trying to figure out the temperatures. And they're all pretty much saying the same thing, plus or minus a few degrees here and there. So I decided it's time to do a test. We need to figure out once and for all, what is the temperature in my garden? And so I figured what I would do is I would mark down the predicted temperatures the next time we had some cold temperatures. And then I would use an actual outdoor thermometer to figure out how close they were to the actual temperature in my area. So I used this guy, not saying it's the most accurate, but I did put it inside my house in my RV at different temperatures. I even put it in the fridge for a short period of time, not this one, but this one. And just to make sure that the temperatures were matching what we put on our AC units in the RV inside the house, and also what we marked our fridge at, which was, you know, it shows the temperature in our fridge. And I was like, okay, it seems like it's pretty accurate, or at least it's getting equal to those. So it's as accurate as those guys are. So then with all this cold weather we've been having, I was like, okay, I'm going to set this one. This is typically the side that you're supposed to put inside the house. And then this one is the one that you put outside. Now, normally this one sits out in my patio here under this covered protected area, but I wanted to do things different. So I put this one actually in my garden bed, sitting next to my calendula flowers. And then this one I set underneath my patio because I wanted to see what, not just what the temperatures were in my beds, but also what's the difference between the patio and the garden beds, because the patio is kind of a protected space. And so since it's protected, like how much protection am I getting out of that? And then compared that to the apps. I wrote down the day before, because that's like when we check apps, right? The day before, I wrote down the temperatures of each one of the apps, and I did Weather Underground, AccuWeather, Apple, and WeatherBug. I didn't end up doing the Weather Channel. But I wrote down the temperatures that they predicted it was going to get down to at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I picked 4 o'clock in the morning for a specific purpose, which was that 4 o'clock in the morning typically is the time that we get our coldest weather. Sometimes it creeps into like 5 or 6, but here it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. That's as cold as it gets. The other reason is because Bella, she's on this schedule lately where she has to use the bathroom at 4 in the morning. I have not had a complete night's sleep in months because of this dog. And I have tried like changing her food to different times and, you know, doing all kinds of things to like try to get her to use the bathroom, not at 4 o'clock in the morning. But for some reason, she's hit an age where all of a sudden she has to use the bathroom at 4 o'clock in the morning. Look, I get it. I'm aging as well. More than likely, I'm going to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go pee as well. But anyway, so I say all that to tell you, not my dog's bathroom patterns or my own, but to tell you that I'm going to be up at 4. So I can go out and actually physically check this, because I don't necessarily trust this memory that it has on here to tell me the actual temperatures. I want to look at it live. So that's what I did, and I waited for a nice cold night, which we've been having a decent amount of those. This night was especially cool to test with because it was dipping below 32 degrees on most of the apps. It was dipping into the 20s on most of the apps, and I was like, well, a lot of the vegetables I have in the garden right now are cold weather crops: Brussels sprouts, celery, carrots, onions, garlic. I mean, stuff that should be able to handle down to 25. And I'm like, well, this is going to be my test. I'm going to see what temperature it actually gets out there and, you know, compare the damage to the plants. I didn't cover my plants that night. Compare the damage, look and see if there's frost, let the temperature gauge sit out here, have this one under cover next to my Java and the tomato that I had underneath cover, and like see what the differences were. Oh my God. It was wild. It was 21 degrees. I couldn't believe that how cold it was out there. And then I looked and the plants had frost. It's hard to see in the videos that I have because I have to shine a light in order to show you. And so you can see it, like a little bit of that glittering that's happening. That's a frost all over all of the plants. It was 20 degrees, which should kill them at 20 degrees. So there must have been some portion of that with some light wind or heat from the ground. I'm not 100% sure, but this sat right next to the calendula flowers, which had frost on them. Now this guy had a temperature of 33. So that tells me that there's a pretty big difference, almost a 10-degree difference between the undercover of my patio and the garden out in my garden beds. The other thing I noticed as I was kind of walking around the next day was I could see the frost damage on the beds, my full sun beds, which are right here. Let me show you. Just coming out of my patio right here is where my full sun beds are. That's these guys right here. All four of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, plus that one 5 and that one's 6-ish. These guys had frost on everything. I was pretty shocked. I was really worried I was going to lose a lot of the plants. I lost a few, especially the younger ones. But then as I started to move down this way, and getting towards my 8th and 9th bed, underneath these trees, there was no frost. Nothing was on the collards. Nothing was on these cabbages or these broccolis. You can even see that there's not very much leaf damage on these guys from frost. If I were to uncover these, you would see a lot of leaf damage. And I'm like, okay, it's got to be like the trees giving it some protection. And so then I come over to this part of my garden where I have my pineapples and I have my green stalks, and I'm seeing some things, right? Like I'm immediately seeing that warm weather stuff like green beans. No. But pak choy, the onions look terrible. They've looked terrible. These guys, which is like a cabbage, looked a little rough, but they came back. No burnt leaves. That's cool. A lot of the herbs did fine. And then I came to take a peek at the strawberries, and they did have some wilting and some issues on them, but it wasn't bad. So that kind of told me that it didn't get to 20 degrees over here. So the next night I was like, okay, we're going to move the little transponder and we're going to move it and set it right on top of the strawberries because I want to know like kind of what this area is. I can tell that those end beds did better. So I'm not really worried about those end beds, but I wanted to see how these strawberries were because we got even colder temperatures coming. It's going to dip into the teens. And I'm going to leave that transponder out because I want to see how cold it gets in my garden. So I left the transponder on top of the strawberries, so it was up off the ground. That's one thing we're going to talk about. And I left it over this area, which seems to have more coverage from trees and overhangs of the houses and stuff. And the difference there was only a few degrees from the inside protected patio to this outside space. It was within 5 degrees, so not nearly as cold as that corner was. And then I compared it to what the app said, and the differences were like almost 10 degrees outside. And then the actual protected area here was closest to those temperatures, but not all of them, right? Apples was the worst. It was nowhere close to a protected area or out in the open. I don't know where those temperatures are coming from. But the AccuWeather, the Weather Underground, and Weather Bug all showed the temperatures of a protected area. Now, I want to just preface here that Weather Bug showed a projected temperature of much warmer, a a day before, but as we started getting a few hours before, it started changing and it actually got closer to what it ended up being. So that one, its ability to predict wasn't super great. Like if I need to cover and I can only find out 4 hours beforehand, that's not working for me. I need to know the day before. So you're probably wondering which one of the apps actually was the closest. I would say AccuWeather was the closest. That was the closest. But why were they all so different, right? Because that's the big question. What made these so different? Because AccuWeather might work for me, but it might not work for you. And the number one reason for that is these different apps are using different weather stations. So basically people or businesses, airports put up weather stations. Some of them are very large weather stations. Some of them are very small weather stations. And they put them up in the area. In my area, the one that Apple uses, because you can go in and look this up, right? The one that Apple uses is in Brooksville's airport, which is like 10 to 12 miles away from where I am. And it's much more inland. I'm kind of by the coast. So I think that between those two things, that weather station isn't close enough to me to get the actual weather of my particular area. It's not very far. 10 to 15 miles is really not that far, but it's enough. And then I looked at AccuWeather and WeatherBug, and those two were using a weather station here in Spring Hill, but they were using different ones. So there were smaller weather stations. I don't know if they're like personal people's weather stations. I'm not 100% sure, but they are in different locations. One is more inland, one is more closer to the coast. And the coast one showed a little bit more warmth than the inland one did, which was weird because it's the opposite when it comes to Brooksville. Anyway, I kind of started to figure out which weather station was most accurate to my particular area. And there are some apps that let you pick different weather stations in your area versus just picking whichever one it picks for you. Another thing is where those weather stations are. Like when it comes to the airport, they're going to put those weather stations under a cover protected area like this. And they're going to put it about 5 feet tall, 5 to 6 feet tall. They want it above the ground. They don't want the heat from the ground to interrupt the temperatures. And they want to put it in a protected area so that when the sun comes, the sun doesn't directly hit it and affect the temperatures. And I understand why they're doing all that, but that doesn't help my plants who are out in the open. The plants that are out in the open need to know what those temperatures are going to be out in the open. And unfortunately, these weather stations are not going to be able to do that because they need to protect from the heat of the sun. They can't move these things. These are bigger items. They need to be affixed to something. Another reason why some of these weather stations work better than others is maybe they have a protected space like I do. Maybe they have a fenced-in area. Do they get the same east to west wind that I get here? Or, I'm sorry, west to east wind that I get here? Maybe they're in a different orientation. Maybe they're on the north side. You know, there's like a lot because microclimates are huge. And if you don't believe me on this one, let me just explain something. Those beds that had the coldest temperatures of my entire yard. I've been moving this thing around like crazy trying to get the different gauges. And that corner of my yard is its own microclimate. And the other side of my yard where my fruit trees are is apparently protected because of the trees that are above it, because of the way the wind comes from the west to the east. Right now it does. I mean, obviously that changes occasionally, but right now the system that we're having is kind of going from west to east. So the wind is pushing the cold air until it hits my fence on the other side, and it's creating this freezing cold pocket. That's what happened. There's like this freezing cold pocket of where the wind is pushing the cold air, and that is a microclimate. How much trees you have covering it, how close it is to the house. Is it a protected space with an overhang? Is there other blockages like a shed or a house or a fence or whatnot, that is keeping it a little bit more warm? How is the wind blowing in your yard? It is so wild how many different factors. And to show almost a 10-degree difference between the cold pocket of my yard to the warmer pocket of my yard is wild. And 10 degrees can make it or break a plant. So what did I learn from all this? I learned which weather app works the best for me in my particular area 24 hours in advance. For me, it's going to be AccuWeather, but for you, it might be Apple Maps. And once again, it depends on which weather station. I also learned that having an outdoor thermometer, whether it's a digital one or whether you go old school with the manual ones, anything like that is helpful. And using these moments where we have a significant amount of cold weather or hot weather coming through and checking your manual thermometers and then comparing it to your app is going to give you an idea of how accurate that app is for your particular microclimate. I'll put this guy down in the description if you're interested in him. You could also go all out and buy a weather station. I don't know. I may do that one day, but for now, no. I'm gonna stick to this because all I need to do is get close enough to know whether I need to cover my plants or not. Look, we got a lot of cold weather coming. This is unusual for Florida. We've been through a few days of this. We've been through a few weeks of this. What am I saying? But we've got more to go, and I think tonight and tomorrow is going to be the worst. So get your plants covered. Cover them with blankets, sheets, frost cloths, bisqueen, plastic, tarps, whatever you can do. Try not to touch the plants with these items. Make sure to uncover them as quick as you can so they can get sunlight and not get burned inside there. Do all the things you have to do, but at the end of the day, you might lose some plants. Be prepared for that. If you can protect them and bring them inside, that's going to be your best bet. If you can hang incandescent Christmas lights, if you can get them covered, all those things are going to be good. But sometimes even that isn't going to help when we're getting down into the teens or lower, right? Or if we're getting into the 20s or lower. Sometimes these things just aren't going to help. So give all your plants a hug tonight, and we'll see what's there in the morning.